Welcome back, my friends, to another round of Hunter Didn't Shave and is staring into an incredibly bright screen in an otherwise somewhat dim room in order to answer your questions for Patreon. That's right, Patreon Q&A. It's here. It's happening. For May. I think I'm going to use that intro every time. 1. When you're feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, stress, etc., how do you deal with it? What do you do to cope, overcome, and excel? That's a very serious question that I have an incredible appreciation for. I mean, on the one side, I have therapy, and there is very little that does as much for me as therapy. Realistically, ultimately, there are a lot of things going on. Like, one of the things that really caught my attention big time in doing a lot of research for like how to, manage this stuff and really how to answer this question for myself. When you're feeling overwhelmed, how do you deal with it? What do you do to cope, overwhelm, overcome, and excel? I got almost every one of those words wrong. In trying to answer that question for myself, a lot of the things that I came upon were things like habit stacking, being proactive, really those two, with a big emphasis on being proactive. Now, proactive really means, in this sense, like trying to, it's intention, it's against being reactive, right? So it's on the other end of that spectrum. There's proactive and then there's reactive. Reactive, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, is really like, oh, I'm feeling something, and now I'm going to react to that feeling, right? That's relatively straightforward, plain and simple. Being proactive may include things like, oh, I feel this way, and it's a bad feeling, so let me go ahead and do something else, do something that circumvents, sidesteps, or derails this negative feeling so that I can get some more control. Instead of me being pulled along by something that's happening in my head or in my heart or in my soul, it ain't doing me no favors. I can try and cut in there and be like, whoa, excuse me, I'm just coming through. If you wouldn't mind stepping aside here and let me go about my happy business, right? Like interjecting something that works, right? Like this kind of thing. You cope and overcome and excel. Like, what do you do to get in there and cut that bad feeling off, prevent it from, becoming overwhelming? And really, that concept is like a really important start to that, because it's the idea of wanting to, not even wanting to, of actively, proactively, but taking control and taking the steering wheel back from the emotions themselves. Emotions are great, and they're great, and they tell us a lot, and they're fantastic to work with. They create some of the very best art, and they are half of what is necessary for rationality, rational thinking. Some of the very best flavors of life come from all of these emotions and engaging with other people and the social connections and intimacy and feeling senses of tragedy when there's a sense of loss. But sometimes the emotions, they don't quite add up right. They're doing something completely different from what the facts are that are presented to me. It's like, here's the shape of your life, and it's totally decent. And my emotions and brain go, but what if I told you this? A completely different story altogether. And I'm like, wait, no, hold on. Point being, what do I actually do? Let me answer the question. I try, with my proactivity, my proactive approach to kind of circumventing these emotional states, the ones that aren't particularly helpful, that are telling me something that is different from how I actually should be, feeling about a situation or myself or just in the moment, whatever. Bullet journaling is one of the big ones. And there's a lot of stuff that I do here, and this pairs into the whole habit stacking thing, bringing a bunch of habits in together and doing them all in one set. Not all your habits in one day getting done in one chunk of time, but pairing a few of them together when it makes sense to have, like at the beginning of the day, certain things are kind of always happening, or it's really good to have certain things at the very beginning of the day as opposed to waiting until later. Maybe you can, and for me it's true, put those all together into one set of time. And it's like, oh, now it is time for this, followed by this thing. When I wake up, I did I get on like three? Is this an ADHD day? Got on like three different. I'm not entirely sure that I'm finishing these thoughts. Get up, make my bed. That is the very first habit that I have for my day. That's part of my habit stack for welcome to whatever today is, Hunter. It's make the bed. Why? Few reasons. Making the bed. Everybody's heard this kind of story about, from the Marines. The guy who was like, when you make your bed in the morning, it sets the tone for the day and yada yada. And then when you get back home from the day, at least you have a nice and comfortable bed to sit in. And you know that you have done something. You have achieved at least one little thing. And so on. I'm sure it was way better when the 10,000 times that I actually heard it and don't remember any of the words. Beyond that, it's actually something that I check off for my day. I have it in a list of habits that I'm trying to track. So as soon as I make the bed, and it could be something else. It could be drink a glass of water as soon as I wake up. It could be, put on fresh clothes. It doesn't really matter what it is. For me, it's checking something off. It is my day has begun. I literally have in my bullet journal, a habit tracker, the first thing says make bed. When I'm done making the bed, I brush my teeth and, drink some water and get ready to start my fuller set of habits that includes morning pages, three pages of written freehand, just like whatever flows into my head, and meditation followed by bullet journaling where I'm checking things off. And I'm immediately thinking, as soon as I make this bed, I'm like, oh, I'm already doing something. I'm already achieving part of what I've set this day to be. I'm kind of beginning the flow of what I want to do, what I want my day to become. This is the beginning of who I want to be today. I don't want to be known as the guy who makes the bed, but I want my day to have a particular shape and I want to have some control over it. This is my step one, and it starts the second I get out of bed. I just make it. Super simple, not a bunch of things going on with the bed making. I don't have a bunch of pillows. I don't have like some crazy sheets. I just tuck some things in and put my pillow on top. And it takes like 8 seconds. I mean, I sleep by myself in my bed. It's not a bunch of ruckus. Sheets are really just boom, done. Check it off. I don't feel like I'm mastering the day now, like I'm ridiculously accomplished, but I do feel something positive. I feel like the direction of the day has that positive flow, like it's going somewhere. And all I did was make my bed. And there's no magic, I think, to just making the bed itself. I think that there's a magic in knowing what I want the shape of my day to be and knowing that there are things paired in together, and I've done step one. That's gone. I achieved it. It's nailed out. That makes step two instantly feel a lot better, a lot easier to do. Sometimes when I'm looking at all the things that I have to do, in my own head, and it's like this, big block. It's like, oh my God, there's 30 things I have to do. Oh, there's way too much to do. It's that whole climbing the mountain is one step at a time. Every single step feels like it's some small accomplishment that gets me a little bit further to feeling good about my day. And the more days that I have where I do this stuff and actually feel kind of accomplished, the easier it is to do it the next day. When I've got 5 days in a row and I'm like, yeah, I'm just nailing this. And it's like all this morning routine stuff. And it's like, make the bed, do the morning pages, meditate, bullet journal. Then the rest of my day starts. I just get that stuff out of the way and everything else feels easier or unnecessary. It's really weird the way it kind of frames my whole mindset for the whole day. And this is something that's really proactive. It's not how do I feel today and should I do this thing? For me, that's a big problem. If I wait to see what I should do based on how I feel, I know that a lot of those times I get caught up in negative emotional spirals, depression and anxiety. And if I'm allowed to get too far into my day without doing this morning ritual kind of thing, this morning habit stack, my brain kind of take over and go in another direction. I start thinking about all the things that I have to do and how I've done nothing yet. But simply getting a couple of things to check off at the start kind of prevents that from happening for me. Different things work for different people, but this is something that goes a long heckin' way. Habit stacking doesn't necessarily matter what habits they are. Keystone habits, good term to Google. Try and get some of those blocked in together and pair other things with a keystone habit. One of these critical habits like fitness, meditation, those are big ones that are pointed out very often in research as habits that the mind kind of fixates on. Like it's something that you tend to want to do once you've done a bit of it, and other habits get there. It's like a gravity well. Other habits kind of move in its direction. It's like, oh, well, I'm working out, therefore I kind of feel compelled to eat a little bit better. Not all the time. Sometimes like, oh, I worked out, so I definitely earned that pizza. But there's that tendency that we have of like, I'm doing this one really good thing for myself, and it feels a little bit easier to kind of do this second good thing for myself too, like maybe eat some fewer calories. Like for me, it's like, I will not eat candy today because, I've already put all this work into working out, and I don't really want to kind of backstep that. I just put all that effort and sweat into this fitness stuff. Like I don't want to remove all that work that I did by just slamming some easy candy and then be done with the candy and not have gained much. It's like I feel compelled to use this one big keystone habit that I've done, this working out, to do other little things in my life. That's why it's called a keystone habit, because it has other habits that tend to get paired with it. So if you can get some of those things done, then other habits are a little bit easier. Stacking them in together makes it a breeze. So meditation is a big one. That's one that I have as part of my morning routine. The other things really, it's like a gravity well. They tend to like, it feels easier to achieve other stuff in my life when that one habit is done. When I've done meditating, when I've done some meditating, and I have that mindset where I'm like, yeah, I'm this is some of the normal language you hear with this, like, yeah, I'm a little bit more centered. I feel a little bit more just aware of who I am and how I feel today. I'm a little bit more aware of what I'm doing and, the behaviors that I'm exhibiting and the thoughts that are coming into my head. Like I can recognize what they are instead of just accidentally becoming what these emotions are. I can see it and go like, yes, I recognize you. You're interesting, but you're not relevant to my interests right now. I would rather have this other thing. And like I was saying, that kind of stuff makes it easier to then be proactive with other things. So having these keystone habits, as part of your daily routine, as part of your like who you are and what shapes your day, can be these big like, ooh, excuse me, negative emotions that aren't actually healthy for me right now. Do you mind if I cut in for this dance? They let you get in there. They create a better sense of awareness of the positive and healthy things that you are capable of doing, that you can do in the moment or, with other parts of your life. And that, I think, building that in over the long term makes it so much easier rather than having like, for me, like one in the moment coping mechanism. That's stuff that I don't necessarily do particularly well with. Like I get easily overwhelmed with, negative emotions, especially when it comes to anxiety. So having those other things in my life that I can lean on that are already doing some of that work that allow me to be proactive and like meditating in my bullet journal that helps me see what all I need to do today and what things I can put off for tomorrow too. Like I have it all kind of categorized and sitting out there, and I can go like, yeah, I just need to make sure I get these things done, and if I do that, my day is complete. These other things, be great if I could do them, but those can definitely totally wait. If by the end of my workday, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pumped and I'm ready to do some more work, I can check off some of those other boxes. And if I'm like, woo, I am drained, I've already done what I needed to do, and I already know exactly what I can move to tomorrow. I don't have to just like wait and see because I've got all these kinds of systems in place, Anyway, that was one question. Can we be done now? How long was that? 14 minutes of an ant. Oh my God. Can we turn that into 17 different YouTube videos? Oh no, this is an interesting question. Which pant leg do you put on first? Literally, moments before reading this, I lifted one of my pant legs. I can see my knee right here. I don't know why I did that. Subconscious. I think I usually go with the left first. Probably because I'm like right-handed and right-footed. right-legged, and it's easier for me to balance on that one at the beginning of the day and like put the other pant leg on, you know? So it probably goes like balance on right leg, put left foot in pant alone. Number 3, is there a subtle way to ask you a question without you knowing that a question was asked? Maybe. There are definitely ways to get me to answer something without having asked a question. That's certainly true. Maybe. I think my answer for this one is maybe. 4, have a nice day. Well, thank you. Who said that? How unbelievably kind. Not even a question and I don't care. Hell yeah. Next, what question do you have for the Hunter Wild? Why are you like this? The Beatles versus 1000 Beatles. Who would win? What weapons are in the arena? And over what period of time are we talking? Is it 1000 Beatles that have the opportunity to like develop a colony? Is it like a long-term kind of warfare thing? Or is it like we dropped them into a bubble and within 8 minutes we have to declare a winner? Because I think all of those circumstances create different conditions for victory that are very important to know in advance. So I would ask you to just be a little more specific next time. Oh my God. The Beatles versus 1000 Beatles. Okay, next question. Guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure. Well, I'm definitely guilty of candy. Listen, I don't think I have one of those things where I'm like, particularly, you know, I always think about a guilty pleasure as in like the kind of thing that you're a little bit ashamed to admit, but you do it under the right circumstances, and then everybody giggles because they're like, oh yeah, me too. You know, like watching some terrible kind of TV show that has absolutely no merit and value, but for whatever reason, it just lights you up to watch it. You know, some horrible, like, just terrible acting and production and writing, you know, crime drama kind of thing. I don't know. That's always what springs to mind for, like, guilty pleasure. But for me, I think the easiest answer for this one for me is candy. I mean, like, certainly a lot of comfort foods, and that's easy, but specifically, like, high sugar content, yes, please. That is, I will fill my absolutely everything to the max. Know that I absolutely shouldn't, but secretly I'm like, yes, this was a very fine decision of mine. Pizza pie, or pizza pie, or pizza pie. Okay, let me rephrase this. Pizzappy, or pizza pie, or pizza pie. They're presented differently in text. I don't think pizzappy, where it's like pizza pie is like one word. But then there's pizza pie hyphenated pizza dash pie. Pizza pie, that one seems okay. But pizza pie, 2 words. Something about that just seems right. I don't know why. Most hated sweet / dessert. Cold puddings. You know? A hot pudding? Delicious. Cold pudding just doesn't seem right. Yeah, I don't know why. You know, when I was a kid, my mom used to like make pudding and put it, and we had these like little glass things, and she'd put the pudding in the glass thing and then put them in the fridge, and then you're supposed to eat the pudding after it was cooled off. I never enjoyed that. I mean, it's still sweet and it's still tasty, and I'm not like, oh, this is disgusting. But the hot pudding, like when it just goes right in there from being like cooked, and it just goes in the glass, and like, give me that. I want that hot pudding. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the difference is. Something about that hot pudding absolutely nails the spot. But the cold pudding, it feels forgotten. It feels like it's been lost somewhere. And it's yearning for that heat, to get that heat back, the fire of its soul, and it just doesn't have it. And what, I'm supposed to be satisfied with that? That's not a me problem. That's that pudding's problem. It's got a little personal. Why do platypus look like that? Why do platypus look like that? That's a good question. I just... Oh my god. Why do platypus look like that? I got nothing. Why don't you tell me? Why do platypus look like that? I got this. This is fine. This is a very serious video, and I'm very serious in this video. Have you listened to any of the podcasts I recommended to you a while ago? Mission of 6. If so, how is it? Okay, I do think I actually put it in my podcast queue. I have not actually listened to it. You know, it's kind of weird. When I think of podcasts, I don't really think of entertainment. I have listened to wildly entertaining podcasts, but I sort of feel like when I'm listening to a podcast, I should be sitting down for education, not joy. The joy of education, but not for fun. I don't know why. I swear to you, I will get around to this. Mission to Zix. If so, how is it? It's great. I'm sure. It's great. Hold on. How about a palate cleanser? Why do platypus look like that? I close my eyes and just see them with their beady little eyes looking up at me going, I don't know. Oh my god. Listen, this video was 95% me answering the first question, which is frankly a very good answer. You know what? Somebody's going to have to go back and look and see whether or not I legitimately answered that question. And then the other, 4% was laughing at that question. And then 1% of I don't know what happened. I kind of blacked out. Maybe some words came out of my mouth. I have no clue. Anyway, y'all are great. This is so delightful. I have so much fun with the Patreon Q&As. You don't even have, look at these questions. They were so, listen, y'all really nail it, okay? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me. I'm happy for us. This is so good. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for another month of beautiful Q&A. Questions in action. Good night. Wait. What kind of outro is that? Goodbye! Wait. Sub to Patreon! Wait. Use your Amazon Prime for a sub to TheHunterWild! Wait. Why do platypus look like that? No, interruption, what the fuck? Roof Drunk, I am gonna hire you and fill out all the paperwork and set up everything just so I can fire you. Yeah, that's right, it was better than your performance. Well, I ain't gonna do your job for you no more. Well, whatever. Yeah, alright, I'll be right back, okay? Hold on to your pantaloons. To make yourself potential winner. I get to words many good too. So for something crazy. Yeah, I literally ate dog shit when I was 1.5, and bananas have the texture of dog shit. And frankly, I don't think you can get crazier than that. That's why I hate bananas. And these pistols are still just so sick. Now, usually when I say that, I then promptly die. use the ability. What do you mean? No! I was frozen to death. Oh. Oh, that is painful. Oh, no! And I'm absolutely honored to share it with you. Thank you, my friends. Second thought, fuck y'all. When a horse falls in love with a narwhal. Oh my god. Hold on, let's go for a ride. Okay. Settle in. Settle in right here. Oh god, that HP is so low. No! I'm just hoping for this sweet release of death. Ah! But it never comes. It never comes. I'm ending this stream right now. You are like the creative version. That's my soft comment. You're like the creative virgin.